Hello, dear children. Let us continue the second part of your chapter Natural Calamities. Boys, so far we have learned about what are natural calamities, then cyclones, effects of a cyclone, precautions. We have learned about that. So let us continue second part of the chapter. Earthquakes. The sudden shaking of the earth is called an earthquake. So if it asks you what is an earthquake, you have to answer it. The sudden shaking of the earth is called an earthquake. It occurs due to sudden movements below the earth's surface. Earthquakes can occur at any time without any warning. They cause serious damage to life and property. So here it occurs means this earthquake occurs. It is because of sudden movement below the earth means inside the earth's surface. Earthquakes can occur at any time. It can occur at any time, and we cannot get any warning of earthquake also without any warning. They cause serious damage to life and property. Earthquake it size the life and property of many people. Earthquakes habdi juar hamni ko. Juar habshida the sudden shaking of the earth is called an earthquake. Khang khang leibakse nikpabu kari kawi earthquake juar habko. It occurs due to sudden movements below the earth's surface. Earth's surface ki hojiki karigumba matamda khanghaudana nikpuse ni earthquakes can occur at any time. Earthquake juar habse matam amada hekta thoi without any warning. Masisinadi mi kanagumanasu kanamatanasu kain tubungamde masigi earthquake thok tore habdo warning pingamde. They cause serious damage to life and property. Juar hamna kaidawi miyoibagi punchiga amaga haziki lantum sisidadi am ka henna manghalliebako serious damage tawi. Fact and an earthquake is measured with an instrument called seismograph. Boys, you mark it. What is a seismograph? So, see, seismograph, it is an instrument which is used to measure earthquake. The study of earthquakes is called seismology. So, seismology means the study of earthquake. The point where an earthquake starts is called epicenter. Uh, the point where an earthquake it starts, it is called epicenter. And just above the uh, place where earthquake take place, above that land, that one is called focus, which is not given here. You will get in your higher classes. An earthquake is measured with an instrument called seismograph. Haidi earthquake ज्वार से क्या हम करना हो ज्वार से हा कि अदु मधु खंगननबा अखोई मधु ओन्ननबा खुलाई अमखक लई मधु खुलाई दुबु करी कोरगे हबदा seismograph को वी को. The study of earthquakes is called seismology. अदुगा earthquakes ज्वार हाबगी मरमदा तम से अखोइना होजिकी तंबबु करी को वी मधु seismology को वी. The point where an earthquake starts is called epicenter. Earthquake hauba hoji ज्वार हाबा हो मफम दुबु epicenter को वी को. Now let us see effects of an earthquake. So what are the effects it caused by this earthquake? Let us see. Huge structures like buildings, bridges, and dams get damaged. It used to break down huge buildings, bridges, dams, etc. Destroy it. Floods may occur when dams break. So if dams break, it may cause flood also there. Electric poles, telephone wires, and trees get uprooted. So electric poles, telephone wires, they also get uprooted. Like that means cyclones. This affects communication and electricity supply. It affects our communication system also, and then electric supply also. Sewage pipes break down, resulting in spread of epidemics. So sewage pipes it used to break down. As a result of that, bad smell and wastewater it may cause epidemics. Many people die or become homeless when buildings collapse. So as in when building collapse of this earthquake, so many people die or become homeless. Effects of an earthquake. Hꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ earthquake ꯀꯔꯤ ꯊꯣꯛꯍꯜꯂꯤꯒꯦ ꯑꯝꯇ ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯁꯤꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯑꯃꯥꯡ ꯑꯇꯥ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯇꯥꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯗꯨ effects ꯀꯧꯕꯅꯤꯀꯣ. Huge structures like buildings, bridges and dams get damaged. ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯑꯆꯧꯕ ꯑꯋꯥꯡꯕ ꯕꯤꯜꯗꯤꯡꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯅꯠꯇꯅ ꯊꯣꯡꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯃꯗꯨ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ bridges, dams ꯁꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ get damaged. ꯁꯤ ꯑꯀꯥꯏ ꯑꯇꯣꯏ ꯊꯣꯛꯍꯜꯂꯤ. Floods may occur when dams break. ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯗꯥꯝ ꯍꯦꯛ ꯀꯥꯏꯕꯒ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯐ꯭ꯂꯠꯁꯦ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯏꯆꯥꯎꯁꯨ ꯊꯣꯛꯍꯟꯕꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯎꯕ ꯌꯥꯏ. Electric poles, telephone wires and trees get uprooted. This affect communication and electricity supply. ꯑꯗꯒꯤ electric polesꯅꯦ electric ꯌꯨꯝꯕꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯌꯨꯡꯍꯜꯂꯒ ꯊꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯇꯦꯂꯤꯐꯣꯟ ꯋꯥꯌꯔꯒ ꯎ ꯄꯥꯝꯕꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯐꯨꯛꯇꯣꯛꯍꯜꯂꯤꯕꯀꯣ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ earthquakeꯅ ꯐꯨꯛꯇꯣꯛꯄꯤ. This affect communication and electricity supply. ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ communication ꯄꯥꯎ ꯂꯧꯊꯣꯛ ꯂꯧꯁꯤꯟ ꯇꯧꯕꯗꯨꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ electricity ꯐꯪꯕꯗ ꯑꯀꯥꯏꯕ ꯀꯌꯥꯃꯨꯛ ꯊꯣꯛꯍꯜꯂꯤ. Sewage pipes break down resulting in spread epidemics. ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ sewage pipe ꯀꯨꯝꯕ earthquakeꯅ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯊꯨꯒꯥꯏꯍꯜꯂꯤ. ꯊꯨꯒꯥꯏꯕꯗꯨꯗ ꯃꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯇꯝꯊꯤꯔꯕ ꯂꯥꯏꯅꯥ ꯀꯌꯥꯝ ꯁꯟꯗꯣꯛꯄ ꯌꯥꯎꯏ. Many people die or become homeless when buildings collapse. ꯑꯗꯨ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯗ ꯕꯤꯜꯗꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯀꯤꯟꯊꯕꯗ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯃꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯈꯥꯗ ꯃꯤ ꯀꯌꯥ ꯃꯔꯨꯝ ꯅꯜꯂꯒ ꯁꯤꯕ ꯌꯥꯎꯏ. ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯌꯨꯝ ꯀꯩꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯡꯕꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯎꯏ. Precautions. See what are the steps we should take. That is called precautions here in order to mitigate or save ourselves from this. Move out to an open area like a park. So one need to come out to an open area like a park. Keep away from electric poles, tall buildings, trees and signboards as they can fall on you. So you have to keep away. We have to stand far from these electric poles, tall buildings, trees, signboards. Just because of they can fall on us. Do not get up if you are in bed. So suppose if you are sleeping, so you should not get up. Protect your head with a pillow. So you have to protect your head with a pillow here in the bed itself. If you are in a vehicle, park it on the side and stay inside it. So suppose you are driving a vehicle, a car or anything. At the time you have to park it on the side and you have to stay inside it. Make sure that the vehicle is not near trees, electric poles, or any other tall thing. You must be sure that your vehicle should not be near any trees or electric poles or any other tall thing. In case you cannot move out of the house, take shelter under a sturdy table and cover your head with your hands. Do not stand near things like bookcases, mirrors, or fans that can fall. So, in case you cannot move out of the house at the time, you have to take shelter under a sturdy table and cover your head with your hands. See here how this boy, that means he is protecting himself just by sitting under a strong table and cover your head with your hands. Do not stand near things like bookcases, mirrors, or fans that can fall. So, here, do not stand near things such as bookcases, mirrors, or fans that can fall. So, in case you cannot move, here these points, okay? So, precautions. Kari no hoina ꯃꯁꯤꯁꯤꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯞ ꯂꯧꯒꯗꯕꯁꯦ ꯃꯁꯤꯅꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯤꯀꯣꯁꯟꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯁꯦ ꯏꯁꯥꯕꯨ ꯉꯥꯛꯊꯣꯛꯅꯕ ꯀꯔꯝꯕ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯞ ꯂꯧꯒꯗꯒꯦ ꯃꯗꯨꯅꯤꯀꯣ move out to an open area like a park ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯅꯤ ꯂꯝꯍꯥꯡ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯆꯠꯇꯥꯕ ꯄꯥꯔꯛꯀꯨꯝꯕ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯆꯠꯂꯒ ꯃꯗꯨꯗ ꯐꯝꯃꯒ ꯂꯩꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ keep away from electric poles, tall buildings, trees, and signboards as they can fall on you. Adigi electric poles ne, building ne ko, awang ba building ne, upan bi ne, signboard ne, adugumba lap na legerabani. Moishingi makada manakta nata makale biade, maramdi shungushishe, kadoni, hui taba yaya. Do not get up if you are in bed. Karigumba tumphomda tummaga leba taragadi tumphomdudagi haugalloidabani. Protect your head with a pillow. Mauna mana kaidoba taba akhoi kokse kaidoba tai akhoi protect or tham taba ko ngaktor tai. If you are in a vehicle, park it on the side and stay inside it. If you are in a vehicle, karigumba nangna gari ama thawraga leba taradi, park it on the side and stay inside it. Madu kaidoni side nakal amada khamaga gari dugi manung legerumni mapan thokpa yade ko. Make sure that the vehicle is not near trees, electric poles, or any other tall thing. Aduga shishu sure oigadabani. Garido kari no haitaragadi karigumba panbi amagi manakta natragana electric poles manakta natragana awangba pot amagi manakta leiroidabani. In case you cannot move out of the house, take shelter under a sturdy table and cover your head with your hands. Aduga karigumba hꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ earthquake ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯨꯗ ꯌꯨꯝ ꯅꯪꯅ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯌꯨꯝꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯗꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯕ ꯇꯥꯏ take shelter under a sturdy table. ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯅꯤꯄꯥ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯑꯃꯅ ꯇꯦꯕꯜ ꯃꯈꯥꯗ ꯃꯥ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ. ꯃꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯇꯦꯕꯜ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯃꯈꯣꯡ ꯃꯔꯤ ꯄꯥꯟꯕ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯀꯟꯕ ꯇꯦꯕꯜꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕꯒꯤ ꯇꯦꯕꯜꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯂꯩꯔꯒ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯃꯈꯣꯡ ꯑꯃ ꯐꯖꯅ ꯈꯨꯠꯅ ꯆꯦꯛꯁꯤꯟꯅ ꯄꯥꯔꯒ ꯂꯩꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ. And cover your head with your hands. ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯀꯣꯛꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯈꯨꯠꯅ ꯉꯥꯛꯊꯣꯛ ꯇꯥꯕ. Do not stand near things like bookcases, mirrors, or fans that can fall. Like cases ne aduga mirrors minjenga fan adugumgi manakta ꯂꯩꯔꯣꯏꯗꯕꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯃꯔꯝꯗꯤ ꯃꯣꯏꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯊꯛꯇ ꯇꯥꯕ ꯌꯥꯏꯑꯕ. Tsunamis. Let us see what are tsunamis. Tsunamis are giant uh, waves that are caused due to undersea earthquakes or volcanic eruptions. Mark this one also, okay? These tsunamis are giant waves. That means strong waves that are caused. It is because that are caused. That means due to. It is because of undersea earthquakes. Earthquakes it occurred undersea or volcanic eruptions. It is due to earthquake which caused undersea or volcanic eruptions. Because of that, tsunamis are occurred. Tsunamis is a Japanese word which means harbor waves. Tsunamis, it is a Japanese word. It means harbor waves. The waves move at a very high speed and crush all objects in the path. So, these waves, it moved at a very high speed and it used to crush all objects, whatever it found on in their path. Tsunamis are giant waves. Tsunamis se haziki hamna kanba ipomniba that are caused due to undersea earthquakes. समुद्र के मखादा ज्वार हापतार दिन तेना volcanic eruption से थोकपदुदा tsunami से थोइएबा. Tsunami sise tsunami is a Japanese word which means harbor waves. Tsunami sise Japani word Japan gi maron neko. Aduga masiga arthana harbor waves. Harbor haidi jahaz khampom haitare. Madugi hujiki khampom madugi ipom haibniko. Jahaz khampom gi ipom haibni. The waves move at a very high speed and crush all objects in their path. The tsunamis ki wave to nakaidawi. Yam kan nakaidawi. Yam yang na. Masishin nakaidawi. Web move at the chili chillaga. Madugi lambe and the fungba pot kang de makang de luan makaidawi. Loina mak manghali. Tumtumali ko. Effects of tsunami. Let us see what are the effects of tsunami. Houses and buildings get reduced to rubble. It leads to loss of human lives and livestock. A tsunami disrupts communication and electricity supply due to flooding of roads and breaking of electric poles and telephone lines. So these are the effects of tsunami. Tsunami, that means see here, houses and buildings it get reduced to rubble, and by the way it leads what the loss of human lives and livestock like as what say cattle, poultry, piggery, all this. And a tsunami disrupts communication and electricity supply due to flooding of roads and breaking of electric poles and telephone lines. Because of this tsunamis, such thing it happen or it may happen. Okay. Precautions. What steps should we take in order to keep ourselves safe from these tsunamis? Let us see. Move away from coastal areas to higher places. So you need to move at a far place from coastal areas to higher places. Sailors and people sailing in the sea should not return to port in a warning if a warning has been issued. The impact of tsunami is more on the shore than in the middle of the sea. So see here, move away. You have to move away from the coastal areas, from the means the bank of the seas, to higher places. Sailors and people sailing in the sea should not return to port if a warning has been issued. So they should not, that means uh, reach the port if a warning has been issued here. The impact of tsunami is more on the shore than in the middle of the sea. Impact, effect of these tsunamis, these are more, this is more, that means at the side of the sea than middle of the sea. Precautions kari kari no maduda akhoi akhona madudagi tsunami dagi ngakthoknaba kari kari upay to bataye akhona maduda move away from coastal areas to higher places. Coastal area ki samudra mapan dagi akhona kaidoni haziki awangba mafam amata samudradagi lapna leiba awangba mafam amata chalani. Sailors and people sailing in the sea should not return to port if a warning has been issued. Sailors, jahaz thauba mibu sailors ko buniko, and people sailing hojiki in the sea should not return to port. Moisise jahaz natrana hi khamphom duda hallo idubiniko. If a warning has been issued, karigumba haziki tsunami gi warning ama pip taragadi hi natrana jahaz khamphom duda hallo idubini. The impact of tsunami is more on the shore than in the middle of the sea. Samudragi haziki tsunami gi impact se tsunami na samudragi maraktagi samudra lairai duda kaidoi maduda madugi effect na kalleba ko. Floods. Floods occur when water in the rivers rises and overflows into nearby areas. Floods can occur due to various reasons, some of which are very heavy rainfall and breaking of a dam. So floods, you see, it occur when water in the rivers it rises and used to overflows the nearby areas. It can occur because of various reasons, some of which are very heavy rainfall and breaking of a dam. Floods haidi hansa ising ichaw habniko. Ising ichaw se kamai thoige habduda. Floods occur kama matamda thoige habda when water in the rivers rises and overflows into nearby areas. Turen amagi ising se kaidawi overflow habduda turen digisu wang na hadi hujiki turen du site dairai hatare. Dairai madugi changdagi patharakpa taragadi maduda flood se oibniko. Sumaina flood se thoi habni. Floods can occur due to various reasons. Flood ising ichaw thokpase masigi tongan tonganba maram kayamak lei. Some of which are very heavy rainfall hadi reasons karama haitaragadi heavy rainfall and breaking of a dam. Effects of flood. Let us see effects of flood. A heavy flood causes massive soil erosion. It destroys buildings, bridges, roads, and other structures. Floods damages crops and stored grains. This leads to shortage of food. Epidemics break out due to unhygienic conditions. Clean drinking water becomes scarce due to contamination. Normal life is disrupted due to damage of telephone lines and electric poles. Humans and livestock die due to drowning. Effects of flood ama thokpa taragadi maduda akhoi amang ata tahanbse adum yengasiko. A heavy flood causes massive soil erosion. Soil erosion adi leibak kinthaba kaiba khotpa tobdo adu soil erosion kobni ko. Adudi flood se am kanna tok taragadi leibak se kaidoi kinthei natanga turen gumbagi leira se kairaga dum turen da taba yawi. It destroys buildings, bridges, roads, and other structures. Flood na kaidawi building ne thong ne bridges ne aduga roads lambi and other structures adugumba kaya marum malay moising se manghali amni ko. Flood damages crops and stored grains. Flood na singchao na crops hajiki low hingon se maduda lomi singna kaidawi moina hajiki fau khangde adutara marumarang khangde mayam mathabado aduga stored grains se madulo silaga thambado flood na sigumse manghalle niko. This leads to shortage of food. Masina jinjak se tanghalli jinjak thangno jiki mina phangda yam wanei shortage oihalli wathalli niko. Epidemics break out due to unhygienic conditions. Flood thokpata di singichao thokpa matamda singichao gi matungdadi madugi mafamdudadi kaidawi epidemics tamthiraba laina kaya masu sandokpa yawi madu unhygienic conditions oi taragadi fatta pumdi masi mayam sisina laina tina kaya da thokpa gi machak oihalli. Clean drinking water becomes scarce due to contamination. Contamination jiki flood tuna thaknaba isingba su molhanba yawuniko. Maduda isingse molhangibina asengba isingse akoi thaknaba isingse phangbuda yamna wadhallibako. Aduna akoina taru tananba ising thaknaba phangde. Sorry. Normal life is disrupted due to damage of telephone lines and electric poles. Normal nungtigi akoina liliba punsi sida su kaidawi asoiba mayam ama lahalli. Hojiki telephone lines, electric poles madu mayam flood na sohanba digini. Sorry boys. Humans and livestock die due to drowning. Drowning haidi singda taruga satpagi maram na kaidawi miyobe kaya marum maduga livestock sa kanuga tungan makhan gi sa mayam sise isingda luppadagi naten taru satpadagi shiba yawi mangba yawi. Precautions. Let us see what precautions should we need to take in order to save our life from flood. Flood ising chawdagi akoina ngakthoknaba upai khara lei. ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯒꯦ ꯃꯗꯨ ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯁꯤꯀꯣ ꯃꯗꯨ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯤꯀꯣꯁꯟꯁ ꯀꯧꯕꯅꯤ. In case of a flood, move to high areas like the roof of a house or a tree top. So, if a flood occurs, you need to do what? You have to move to high areas like the roof of a house or a tree top. When there is a warning about a flood, inform others around you. So, if you get a warning about a flood, so at the time you have to inform the same to other peoples who are living, that means around you. Keep enough stock of food, medicines, water, clothes, and waterproof bags to store things. So you need to keep enough stock of food to use, medicines, water, clothes, and waterproof bags to store things. Keep torches, candles, and matchboxes handy. So you need to keep this thing also. Drink boiled water only. So you need to drink boiled water. ꯑꯗꯨꯏꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯁꯦ ꯃꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯏꯆꯥꯎꯗꯒꯤ ꯏꯁꯥꯕꯨ ꯉꯥꯛꯊꯣꯛꯀꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯇꯥꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯑꯉꯥꯡꯁꯥ ꯏꯟ ꯀꯦꯁ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯑꯦ ꯐ꯭ꯂꯠ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯏꯆꯥꯎ ꯑꯃ ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ move to high areas like the roof of a house or a tree top. ꯑꯗꯨꯏꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯥꯏꯗ ꯆꯠꯀꯅꯤ ꯑꯋꯥꯡꯕ ꯃꯐꯝ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯌꯨꯝ ꯃꯊꯛꯇ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒꯅ ꯎ ꯄꯥꯝꯕꯤ ꯃꯊꯛꯇ ꯆꯠꯀꯗꯕꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯀꯥꯔꯒ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ. When there is a warning about a flood, ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯏꯆꯥꯎꯒꯤ ꯋꯥꯔꯅꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯐꯪꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯃꯗꯨ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯀꯣꯏꯕꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯁꯨ ꯑꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄꯥꯎꯁꯤ ꯄꯤꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ. Inform others around you. Keep enough stock of food, medicines, water, clothes, and waterproof bags to store things. ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯆꯥꯅꯅꯕ ꯆꯤꯟꯖꯥꯛꯁꯦ enough sufficient ꯊꯝꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤꯀꯣ. ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯍꯤꯗꯥꯛ ꯂꯥꯡꯊꯛ ꯏꯁꯤꯡꯅꯦ, clothesꯅꯦ, waterproof bags ꯃꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯊꯝꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ. Keep torches, candles, and matchboxes handy. ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ torch lightꯅꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ candlesꯅꯦ, matchboxes ꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯐꯖꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯈꯨꯠꯀꯤ ꯃꯅꯥꯛꯇ ꯊꯝꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ. Drink boiled water only. ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯔꯨꯝꯕ ꯉꯥꯛꯇ ꯊꯛꯀꯗꯕꯅꯤꯀꯣ. ꯑꯗꯨꯗ ꯑꯏꯪꯕ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯊꯛꯄ ꯌꯥꯗꯦ. Helping in times of disasters. So see here, if a disaster happens, how helping it took place. Let us see. After a disaster, survivors pass through great trauma. Often they lose their family. So after, as and when a disaster over, their survivors, they pass through great trauma here. They often lose their family, relatives, or property. So many times they lose their family members, relatives, or property there. Children and physically handicapped are particularly under a great shock. So children and physically handicapped people, especially there, that means under a great shock at that time. At this time, they look for help from others. So they have lost their family members, their property. So they are under a great shock. At the time, they need what? They look for help from others. Thus, help from community is very useful during times of emergency. So, in this way, helping from community it is very useful during times of emergency. Immediately after a disaster, help is required to clean the rubble, rescue people buried under collapsed buildings, build temporary houses, give first aid to survivors, and many other things. So immediately, as soon as disaster over, their help is required in order to clean the rubble, rescue people buried under collapsed buildings, build temporary houses, give first aid to survivors, and many other things. Their rescue people they used to come, and what they used to do, they rescue people buried under collapsed buildings and build temporary houses. And they used to give first aid to survivors and many other things. Many governmental and non-governmental organizations or charitable groups come forward to help disaster victims. So in such cases, many governmental as well as non-governmental organizations are there, and charitable groups used to come forward in order to help these disaster victims, those that means who are victimized in that disaster. So many governmental and non-governmental organizations as well as charitable groups they used to come forward. They help by donating money, transporting supplies, giving blood, or by volunteering to go to the affected areas. So they used to, the above mentioned persons used to help the victims by donating money, transporting supplies, by giving blood, or by volunteering to go to the affected areas. So, in such a way, that means they are helped by other people. Some of these organizations are, you see, those organizations we used to come forward for helping these disaster victims. Some of these organizations are such as the Corps, National Cadet Corps, NCC. Children, you must know the full form of NCC. You must learn it. Consisting of dedicated and trained young stars. This NCC, they know. They are, that means well trained and dedicated. That means how to, that means help others. They know this thing. The Red Cross Society and WHO. WHO, full form of WHO. This one also you mark it and learn it. Full form of WHO is World Health Organization. The United Nations Disaster Management Team, UNDMT, Child Relief, and UCRY. Then professionals like doctors, nurses, and firefighters also play a major role in rescue work. For example, doctors and nurses treat and injured, treat the injured people and create awareness to prevent an outbreak of epidemics. Firefighters help to put out fires. Police officers help in maintaining law and order. They also help to rescue and take people to relief camps. So I think that means, boys, you understood this chapter. Here you see, asisida professional like doctor. Doctor na magi sinthomda leba doctor singse moina kaidawi moine adudagi nurses and firefighters also play a major role in rescue work. Haziki disaster ꯊꯣꯛꯄ ꯃꯐꯝꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯕꯨ ꯉꯥꯛꯊꯣꯛꯅꯕ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯗꯣꯛꯇꯔꯅꯦ ꯅꯔꯁꯦꯁꯅꯦ ꯐꯥꯌꯔ ꯐꯥꯏꯇꯔꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯐꯥꯌꯔ ꯕ꯭रिꯒꯦꯗꯅꯦ ꯃꯣꯏꯁꯨ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯃꯦꯖꯔ ꯔꯣꯜ ꯑꯆꯧꯕ ꯂꯧꯔꯒ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ victim ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯄꯨꯟꯁꯤꯁꯦ ꯉꯥꯛꯊꯣꯛꯅꯕꯗ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯆꯥꯎꯕ ꯔꯣꯜ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯧꯏ. For example, doctors and nurses treat the injured people. ꯈꯨꯗꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯕꯗ ꯗꯣꯛꯇꯔꯁꯅꯦ ꯅꯔꯁꯦꯁꯅꯦ ꯃꯣꯏꯅꯗꯤ ꯃꯗꯨꯗ ꯗꯤꯁꯥꯁꯇꯔꯗꯨꯗ ꯁꯣꯛꯈꯤꯕ ꯃꯤꯁꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯣꯛꯄ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯣ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯕꯤꯔꯒ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯃꯁꯥ ꯐꯍꯜꯂꯤ. And create awareness to prevent an outbreak of epidemics. ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ epidemicsꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯉꯥꯛꯊꯣꯛꯅꯕ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯄꯥꯎꯇꯥꯛ ꯀꯌꯥꯃꯛ ꯄꯤꯕꯤꯔꯤ. Firefighters help to put out fires. ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯐꯥꯌꯔ ꯕ꯭ꯔꯤꯒꯦꯗ ꯐꯥꯌꯔ ꯐꯥꯏꯇꯔꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯃꯩꯗꯣ ꯃꯗꯨ ꯃꯨꯠꯊꯠꯄꯗ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯒ ꯃꯇꯦꯡ ꯄꯥꯡꯕꯤ ꯃꯩꯗꯣ ꯃꯨꯠꯊꯠꯄꯤ. Police officers help in maintaining law and order. Police officerna law and order to kaidoi maduda moina yengbi. They also help to rescue and take people to relief camps. Moina kaidoi moi singse the police singna su victim oiba mi singse moi relief camp bau thimbi ko. The disaster affected areas are totally cut off from the rest of the world due to destruction of all means of transport. So, means of transport se loina mukmang badigi kaidawi haziki moise atopaga line fauna deba pau amaga pitu pishin to ngamde. The armed forces drop packets of food, water. The armed forces drop packets of food, water, clothes, medicines, and other things from helicopters there. The army helps by clearing the roads and constructing temporary houses for the survivors. So you see, the work of armed forces, they used to drop packets of food, water, clothes, medicines, and other things from helicopters there. The army, they help by clearing the roads and constructing temporary houses for the survivors. Okay. Even media plays an important role during and after a disaster. Media means say radio, television, newspaper. So they also play important role during and after a disaster. It provides information about the disaster hit people to their relatives and friends in other parts of the country. It provides the news or information about the disaster hit people to their relatives and friends in other parts of the country. Media sinasu am important part loribini ko moina kaidawi pau selo silaga pau do kaidawi moigi mari mata da haitare natana atopa misingda pau do khangaleba ado masi pau se tongan ba lamda tongan ba country da yohalli. Many schools and colleges collect money, clothes, medicines, and other things and send them to disaster affected areas. So, see the role of schools and colleges students here. They used to collect money, clothes, medicines, and other things in order to send them to disaster affected areas. Already, school da tamliba angangsina noigumba angangsina ko. ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯀꯣꯂꯦꯖꯇ ꯇꯝꯕ ꯁꯥꯇ꯭ꯔꯁꯤꯡꯅꯁꯨ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯄꯩꯁꯥꯅꯦ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯐꯤꯔꯣꯟꯅꯦ ꯍꯤꯗꯥꯛ ꯂꯥꯡꯊꯛꯅꯦ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯑꯇꯩ ꯑꯇꯩ ꯗꯔꯀꯥꯔ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯄꯣꯠ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯦ ꯈꯣꯝꯖꯤꯜꯂꯒ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ disasterna suhankiba mafamduda maina thabi. Fact 10 to yangasi. Let us see. Prime Minister National Relief Fund is a program that allows people to contribute money to help people in need throughout the country. Prime Minister Relief Fund se karino masiniko. Adudi mado relief fund niko. It is a program that allows people to contribute money to help people in need throughout the country. So that's up to here for today. Let us see again in the next class. Thank you all.